for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
2 games to go in the league stage, and the top 2 is still up for the taking. Mumbai Indians, when they wound up affairs of making the top 4 last Wednesday, thought we prepare for the eliminator. Then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday happened, and nobody wanted the top 2 spot. That is why Punjab Kings versus Mumbai Indians in match 69 at Jaipur is an effective knockout for those top 2 spots. Mumbai win, they go top. Punjab win, they go top. And regardless of what happens between LSG and RCB tomorrow, the winner today will remain in the top 2. What an advantage that is to be in qualifier 1 and get 2 bites at it. Next up presents ESPN Cricket for timeout. It's chaos, which is why we need some stability, some solidity. We've summoned Wasim Jaffer back. Wasim, good evening. So nice to have you again. And I'm sure you remember Big Tom from last year. The two of you had such a wonderful time. We thought we must give you an episode together before we close the series. How are you, Wasim?
I'm good, thanks. Raunak, good to be with the Big Tom.
Big Tom, are you happy that Wasim Jaffer is here today? Maybe
thrilled.
some order will be established. Anil Kumble was causing chaos over the last 3 days.
Very important you have someone very good against the new ball. And we've got Wasim there just to deal with some early movement, and then we can kick on.
Wasim's a busy man. He's signed up as director of cricket in the upcoming Vidarbha T20 League as well, Wasim.
Yes.
So,
Yes, I have.
What else have you been doing in your busy time, Wasim? Please tell us.
Nothing, watching the show from home.
How have you made for Dustin's performance? What have you made of Dustin's performance?
Dustin is, as reliable as he is, giving his stats and everything.
So
he's
am I
on
hired also?
point.
Am I also hired for the Vidarbha T20 League or maybe not?
I'll find out the budget.
Auditions for Dustin.
Yeah.
But good that Dustin's back as well. And the importance of this game cannot be understated. What could the last 4 results have done, especially for MI? Because Punjab were guilty of dropping points in these 4 days. Do you sense they're the kind of team now, those sharks that have smelled a little bit of blood? Are we expecting that today from MI?
Well, I don't think they were expecting this outcome. It's just worked out perfectly for them. Yes, they've had a very good run in the back half of this tournament, and that's when you want to be playing your best cricket. And Mumbai have got a habit of doing that historically. So they don't really need any favours, but they've been given overwhelming favours after favours after favours because we all know they boast a great squad. They've got a lot of match winners, a lot of international pedigree there. So they'll be bursting at the seams to have a go at tonight to find an extremely unlikely top 2 position if they took themselves back 3 weeks.
I mean, the last team you want to do a favour to, Wasim, is fair to say, is Mumbai Indians. Punjab Kings rely so much on uncapped players. Are we potentially seeing, once we enter pressure games, business end, that things that have worked for you when you're relying on young players, sometimes the pressure can get to them?
Yeah, I mean, man to man, you feel MI is the most dangerous side. They've been there, they've done that. For Punjab, it's an unknown territory. So, that can play a part. But they'll be, looking at it as an opportunity where they haven't achieved. So, Shreyash has done it before. He's won trophies. So, he can inspire. And they've played, fantastic cricket. They haven't in the previous years, haven't won 3 or 4, back-to-back games, like they've done. They haven't won on home turf as well, which they have changed. So I feel, a lot of things are going in their favour. And the foreigners who have come in, especially Josh Inglis, I feel that, he's a fantastic player. And I like him batting at number 3 and Shreyas' form as well. Plus those 2 openers, they've done really, really well.
Yeah, but I think Punjab are the kind of team who would love to have 2 cracks at it in the playoffs because the way they play, they're an aggressive batting side. They also have relied so much on uncapped players. And, the pressure of an eliminator, you don't want that. With the uncapped players, if they have 2 cracks at it, you sense qualifier 1, they can be very dangerous and maybe go straight through to the final if they can get that spot.
That's a good point. The Sunrisers, we saw, they needed that second chance because of a similar brand of cricket that they played. And I guess the top 2 becomes even more important this year with the withdrawal of key overseas players. You're going to have to makeshift some positions, and today that's happened, Tom, in Kyle Jamieson playing his first game for Punjab. Marco Janssen, as we know, is left. I believe they're without Chahal as well, which I'll confirm in a moment. But the top 2 is more important this year than even previous years?
Oh, it's always very important. Yeah, possibly. I think Dustin's point around the uncapped players, I think it gives them the confidence they can continue to do what they've been doing without the fear of, if we get this wrong today, that's the end of our story. And I think that's a big factor for Punjab in particular. Mumbai, there's so much experience there. So I don't think that's any big issue for them, regardless, even though they haven't qualified, they haven't made a final from position 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit surprised that Jamison's in, to be honest with you. I thought they would have stuck with Bartlett, who they've used in the previous games and has been part of their story throughout the season.
I'm going to come to that team in a second to see what the overall combination is, but that's now 10 tosses won by Shreyas Iyer out of 14. Wasim, they were one team that liked to actually bat first, and they did it in the last game, in the game against Rajasthan at Jaipur, but Delhi put them in and they were happy doing that. Today, Shreyas wants to bowl first. Does that tell us something?
Yeah, I mean, somebody like MI, they want to obviously chase, but this is something which Punjab haven't done before. They've stuck with batting first and posting big scores. So this is something very new. Could be due a factor, you never know. Wicket is so good, they played there, but 200 was chased, quite comfortably. Not comfortably, but they have been
reasonably
chased.
comfortably. Yeah.
And every team has looked like, they are very close to that chase. So I feel this is probably one of the reasons.
Chasing ground, we brought that up last time.
Yeah, I've always historically known it as a chasing ground, so that is a slight advantage. But interesting enough, this season at that venue, there's no real advantage batting first or second. It seems to be pretty even results-wise. But I think Punjab probably. I don't think they'll be due. Purely, I read the pitch report, and apparently there's a strong breeze as well. So therefore, that probably counts due out. But just Jaipur, the shape of the ground, the big deep pockets, particularly square of the wicket. It's very hard sometimes to halt the runs if someone gets in.
Okay, and I can tell you, as far as toss stories go, Hardik Pandya actually had a good toss record. He's now lost 5 in a row. He'd be happy that in spite of oppositions putting MI in, they managed to win 4 of those, the only exception being the GT game.
Yeah, just on the toss also, if you remember the last game, Shreyas said that he thought they had a good total.
He thought it was an excellent total.
Yeah, and it was chased very easily. So maybe now he's second guessing a little bit the reading of the pitch, what's a good total. So you'd rather chase rather than bat first. That might be part of it.
And there are 2 good bowlers, somebody who he relies on, Marco Jansen and Yuzi not being there. Probably that must have also forced him to do
I believe we're getting some very interesting news today. We thought Marco Jansen is gone. And there was a Punjab Kings social post saying, Marco, we'll miss you and whatnot. But Marco Jansen hasn't gone. They've tied him to the stands at Jaipur, I think, and made sure that he's available. So Kyle Jamieson plays in place of Azmatullah Omarzai as your 4th overseas. Vijay Kumar Vaishak is in. And remember, this is a bowling first 11. Praveen Dubey was used as a leggy. Chahal, we believe, is carrying a bit of a wrist niggle, and that's what kept him out in this game. He was under an injury cloud for today as well. So those are the key changes. Jamieson to make his Punjab Kings debut today, and Jansen stays. I'm guessing this will certainly be his last game with the South Africans due to depart soon. Now, what do we make of that choice? Jamieson and Jansen.
2 very tall bowlers. And that's coming from a very tall pundit.
It is indeed.
But look, interesting again. I'll go back to my point about Bartlett. I'm a little bit surprised he's not in that side. But maybe they're seeing something in this surface that they feel, the taller bowler might get something, from it. But interesting that Marco Jansen's still there, because it's certainly the indication was that he was going. I just wonder whether there's some late discussions with South African cricket for him to just stay for this very last game.
And perhaps they'll take the same flight as Ryan Rickleton.
Yeah.
He was always going to be there, but I don't know if the bowlers were summoned earlier. Dustin?
Also, just one spin bowling option.
That is correct.
Like for Punjab, Harpreet Brar. Obviously, Chahal has a wrist injury, so I believe he's available for the playoffs, but missing this game. But there's no opportunity to bring in Praveen Dubey because obviously this is a bowling first 11. MI do struggle sometimes with the ball turning away, which is why I thought maybe they would still stick with Dubey and Harpreet, even though Dubey didn't have a great outing last time. But it looks like they're investing just in pace. They'll have just a 1 spin option.
Yeah, and spin has done well. You need couple of guys and spinners have done well. So I'm a little surprised. Dubey only bowled 2 overs and he picked up a wicket. So,
Yeah.
so I'm actually surprised that...
Brar bowled well as well.
yeah.
And now you look at the numbers overall at Jaipur, average better, economy rate better as
Yeah.
well. And that Punjab team now only has, we've spoken of the potential weakness of the third seamer, but you only have again exactly 5 bowling options, counting Vaishak and Jamieson, who's playing his first game. Stoinis is your only sixth bowling option, and that has been a cause of concern. They're suddenly just unsure of their bowling, and maybe that's why you bowl
options,
first.
right? There's
Yeah, but I think we've spoken of just that maybe there's a lack of confidence in the bowling, and that's also perhaps led to the decision of the toss. Tom?
Yeah, possibly. I think Stoinis is still a very good fit for a sixth bowler. There's no issues there. I'm a little bit surprised that they haven't gone with another spinner as well. And the first thing that sort of sprung to mind was Maxwell. I know he's not here, but that would have been quite a nice little fit for him, because even though you can't rely on what he's going to produce with the bat, because that has been very inconsistent, but what you can rely on is what he can do with the ball against both left and right-handers.
Yep. I mean, MI, what changes have you made? Let's have a look to see if anything at all for Hardik Pandya's side. Nope. Happy with Mitchell Santner. So that is one specialist spin option that they have. This is the batting first 11. They can always bring in Karan Sharma as the extra spinner, or Ashwini if they want to go seam, but it's a pretty strong team. And these are the last games for Ryan Rickleton, Will Jacks and Corbin Bosch, who won't feature today. They've named their 4 overseas. Anything that you'd like to perhaps see them do differently with looking at the playoffs?
Well, apparently Hardik has said that Ashwini comes into the side. So I'm guessing that maybe they also are looking at this as a pitch that won't favour spin. Obviously, they have that option, but apparently that's what he said at the toss, that Ashwini will come.
They also carry Will Jacks in that team. So they also
that's the other option.
Cover 2 spinners if you need to bowl to left-handers.
And on that pitch report as well that I read, it did say there was a good covering of grass on it, not green grass, but just a good covering of grass. That may have also been the thought process that this is going to be a quick bouncy wicket. We're better off going with pace against spin.
I mean, this is going to be a team that will have to chase whatever MI get with the kind of form Jasprit Bumrah is in. And ever since Bumrah came into this team, I think Matt Roller used the term cheat code. It's been like a cheat code now. It's just unfair at times that how Bumrah can turn games single-handedly, and it's resulted in the rest of the bowling finding some more form. Dustin, you've dug up some essential numbers when it comes to the effect of Bumrah on MI's bowling.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Bumrah is what he gives you is not just his own economy rate, which is obviously sensational, less than 7, and his wickets, but him being in the attack, it just helps everybody else. And so if you look at the number of power play wickets Trent Bolt has been getting since before Bumrah was there, and now if you look at, I mean, basically every metric in terms of economy rate in different phases, wickets in different phases, it's all gone up for Mumbai, partly because of Bumrah, but partly because also all the other bowlers have also now come into the game more. I think Deepak Chahar, his economy rate has dropped by a whole point since Bumrah's come in. So he's conceding 1 less run per over since Bumrah's there. Bolt's wickets have gone up. Santner has also actually been a lot better. Of course, those are also 3 quality bowlers, so it's also possible that, they just improve their performance after a bit of a slow start. But with Bumrah, his presence means that you have to then attack other bowlers, right? But also at times, I think, if a team's got a bit of momentum, you can always go to Bumrah and he can stop that momentum with a wicket or, a cheap over for not many runs. So how much does he help? How much does it help having a bowler who's that far apart from the rest in your squad?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it relaxes everyone because, those last 2 overs are covered in the death. And as soon as you go into MI, you are a slow starter, just like that team. So, everybody improves after a few games. So that is also one of the case. But I feel it just relaxes everyone because while he was not there, Trent Bolt was asked to bowl in the death, Deepak Chahar, which is not what they are used to doing. But as soon as he comes in, Bolt knows he's going to bowl 2 or maybe 3 in the power play. Deepak Chahar knows what he's doing. And then, middle over and the death over is taken care of. So I just think it relaxes everyone and everybody knows what is expected of them.
I'm surprised that the economy rates also for the other bowlers dropped. It's one thing you can get more wickets. Sometimes the pressure from Bumrah's end results in wickets at the other end. But Santner's economy rate going down, Deepak Chahar's economy rate going down. Can you explain that?
I think it's to do with the wickets he takes as well. So the other bowlers are benefiting from new batsmen coming to the crease. There's more movement with regards to players coming in and players going out. So therefore they benefit. And I think with Bumrah, there's no question of his class and quality, but I nearly feel like it's got into a lot of teams and players' heads, the real difference between him and the rest. There's one thing in dealing with the ball itself and what's coming at you, and there is a significant point of difference with Jasper Bumrah. It comes at a very fast rate. He's got great angle because he's got that unusual action. He's got that brace front leg, so therefore the ball seems to accelerate off the pitch the way he sort of catapults it down there. It's a bit like Jaffer Archer.
Yeah.
And it's nearly like the players playing against him are not only playing those challenges, but they're also playing those things out mentally as well. And they're nearly exhausted by the time they get to the crease.
You've spent some time with guys like Prabh Simran, Nehal Vadera. I feel like watching some of the younger players this year, when the best bowler comes up, they want to make that their little showpiece as well, their stage, try and hit Bumrah for 6, etc. In such an important game, what kind of conversation would you have with uncapped Indian bowlers when it comes to facing Bumrah at this form?
I don't think you need to tell them anything because they're not going to do anything different. Like you said, they pretty much think the same way. If I get after this guy, I'm going to get headlines and I'm going to be talked about. Improves my chances. We saw last year Ashutosh Sharma did that when he spoke after the game that he wanted to score runs against and he lapped Bumrah for a 6. So things like that, that's how the youngsters think. If I score runs against him, this is my opportunity to shine.
So you would not tell him something like, just don't take unnecessary risks in Bumrah because you can easily take down Chahar, Bolt, Santner. Why would you want to try and make that? Just work it around with Bumrah if you get a boundary. You wouldn't have any kind of balanced conversation with a young player like that.
Everyone does, but I
Nobody
don't
listens.
think, nobody
But you can tell your coaching career is limited, Raunak, because you never start something with you don't do something to a player because you're saying the negative, which is what you don't want to be doing because it'll be the first thing that comes to mind. So if anything, you just want to, lift them for the occasion and say, trust your game, back yourself against this guy. But don't forget to rotate the strike. So we're keeping the innings moving.
Yeah, I totally accept that, Tom. The cricket I play, all I tell my team is don't do this. Never won anything in our life.
What can I do?
Yeah. Take the catches. Don't drop it.
No wicket 15 after power play. Good start.
quick one on just closing the MI bowling conversation, which is of course a story for the second innings. One other thing we've seen and noticed is Hardik, the bowlers, bowled a lot less since Bumrah has come into this team. Yeah,
I think he didn't bowl at all in the last game and even before the break. I think in the 3 games before that he had bowled just 3 overs. So obviously, the back injury with Hardik, he's always trying to manage it. But yeah, like you said, once Bumrah's come in, there hasn't been as much of a need for him to bowl.
But should that be something that they should look at regardless? Like, should we be looking at Hardik bowling more, come with the playoffs in sight?
I think when he sees a pitch where it's going to hold and, make facing fast bowlers a little bit difficult, I think that's where he uses himself. There hasn't been a very high scoring games. Last game also, when they bowled, it was sticking into the pitch, but Santner bowled beautifully and then Karan Sharma, so, it wasn't needed. But I think if there is a need and he feels the pitch, will help his bowling, I think he's going to use himself.
Yeah, I guess the one question is with Jax going for the playoffs, Jack's been giving you 1 or 2 overs. Charita Salanka may come in place of Jax, who he also does bowl a bit of off spin, but maybe then Hardik will say, okay, now I'll bowl instead and not give Asalanka any overs. Maybe that would make his bowling more important once Jax leaves the team.
Yeah, I think it's going to be conditions based. I'm sure he's absolutely ready to go when the occasion is there for him to be bowling. But I think the point around Bumrah is very valid. I think since Bumrah's come in, he's had to, he hasn't had to, but he's taken a back seat for the reasons of maybe just managing his back, but also it's all been, happening very, very, positively for Mumbai for the last 7 or 8 games.
I just feel like this has resulted in perhaps a little bit of a drop in his own confidence in his own bowling abilities. That GT game, which you might recall, Tom, which was rain affected, he gave Deepak Chahar a final over instead of bowling it himself. His batting numbers have also suddenly gone quiet at a time where he was bowling. You've spoken many times of the all-rounder feeding off both skills, and whether this is something that, while he's captain, He's happy to let the others do it, but it's an important thing for him to not just leave his overs for a bad day.
No, that's true, but we also take ourselves back to last season with Mumbai. He was front and centre with the ball, and nearly forcing himself on the game when really he shouldn't have been bowling in certain phases of the game that he was bowling. So maybe he's also reflected on last season and his captaincy and the way that he used himself as a bowler, and probably thought, well, maybe I got that wrong and I've learnt from that, and this season I'm going to be more measured with my approach to when to bowl.
Yeah, I think also a lot of those 10 wickets he took in the first 4 games were across the middle overs. And now MI are playing 2 spinners instead of, they started the season, they had 2 spinners in some games, but they were going with just a 1 spinner. So maybe that's why also now the spinners are bowling in that phase. Bumrah's bowling usually 1 in the middle overs. So he hasn't felt the need to come in. That could be the case as well.
Yeah, I mean, just
even in the seasons, even in the seasons when he led Gujarat, he's only used to bowl with the new ball, and he hardly bowled in the middle overs or in the death. It's only the last season that he bowled himself a lot. So I think when he's got a lot of bowlers in his team, I don't think he needs to.
Right. Man for the big stage. When we move to Ahmedabad, perhaps should MI will get there, you would think, unless they find themselves in the eliminators. They'll have to work hard to get there. But it should be a cracking second half. Not only do you have MI's bowling, which is fast improving, Bumrah's form, you also have Punjab as a batting side that are really strong. They rank high on most metrics this season. Their uncapped players have a lot to do with it. 200 plus totals, they've hit as many as 7 of them. So MI know they'll need to get a big score here when it comes to putting this Punjab team under pressure. 207 was chased down last game by Delhi Capitals. Right, let's also just look at a few more points here. MI are batting first today, and Tilak Varma is a great conversation to have at this stage. Like you point out, Will Jacks is also due to leave, and Tilak seems to have moved from being a 3 to at times 5-6. We've had the retired out this season. We've had him come back from it. But let's break down Tilak Varma a little more in detail, Dustin, today.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's shifted batting position. Obviously, the strike rate there doesn't look, great, 134. But he has had some important innings. I think we talked about the last innings even where it was only a run ball 27. But given that pitch, it actually ended up being quite a decent innings. But yeah, do you think, Wasim, he's almost a lock-in for number 3 come the playoffs when Jacks goes? Because I don't think they'd put in a new player in Asalanka at number 3.
Yeah, I think Will Jacks, playing in this MI lineup, he had to bat at number 3, if not open. And that has affected Tilak Varma's entry point because you can't, send Surya Kumar Yadav at 5. So that has affected his numbers. But I think once Will Jacks goes, you automatically see him batting at 3, Surya at 4, and maybe Asalanka at 5. So I think that's going to help. But what I liked when he was called out after, being retired, the couple of innings that he played after that, shows his mentality. Could have gone the other way around, but he stuck around, played 2 match-winning knocks, and that says a lot about Tilak Varma.
What about today? Even though Jacks is there, you've got the playoffs in sight, and why not try that out? You want Tilak Varma to get into the playoffs maybe with a bit more confidence. Is there a tempting thought there in putting him at 3 today?
Well, I think that's a big mistake any team can make is look too far ahead. I think they need to win tonight and don't fix something that's not broken. They've got everything in order. They've started to put some back-to-back wins together, starting to be a real threat in this competition, and it's been helped by other teams elevating them into this opportunity to find themselves in the top 2.
When we look at those numbers on screen, strike rate of 130 against spin this year, which is a drop from last year, and we've had a number of conversations on this couch through the season, multiple guests talking of there is a Wasim, maybe you can get into it. He locks himself in certain positions where he's unable to take down spin, even as a left-hander when it comes to left-arm spin or leg spin. So there is a challenge here. And do you sense by Jack's position, Surya's form, you're also putting him in those positions again and again? Is there something you can do to change that up or liberate Tilak Varma to have the kind of season he's had before?
Yeah, but since Will Jacks is going to bat at number 3, he's not going to bat any higher. But I just feel he needs to be a little bit more aggressive against spin. He can do that. We have seen in South Africa when he's got back-to-back hundreds. But he just kind of holds himself. He hasn't played as freely as he does at number 3. But probably, once the playoff comes and he gets his number 3, with probably coming into the power play, you might see a different Tilak Varma.
Yeah, I think the obvious change for him is he's probably coming into bat when spin's on.
Yes.
So that's the challenge to get going straight away, where in previous seasons he's probably faced a dozen, if not more, balls against pace, and he's got some sort of rhythm to his game, and spin comes on and he can fire straight away.
Very curious to see how long the opening stand lasts. Sometimes that influences their decision as well, and you don't want to keep Surya back, which is the other challenge. If the openers do well, then outwalks Surya Kumar Yadav. Now, will the openers do well today? Last game for Rohit to have Rickleton at the other end, with the South African keeper also bound for the World Test Championship final. Let's break down how the first 6 might go in this all-important clash. Next up presents Power Play Conversations. Right, there is of course Arshdeep versus Rohit Sharma, which we'll discuss in a second. But I want to talk about Rickleton before he signs off from his debut season. He has been the highest run scorer behind Surya Kumar Yadav's, number 2 in his first year, and that's a success story for a base price player in his first IPL, Tom?
Yeah, look, 3 half centuries, striking at over 150. It's exactly what Mumbai wanted, and they got it at a cheap price. And he also presents as someone that can, stand behind the stumps, which is also, an important part of his package. So yeah, he's been a nice fit for them, and I'm sure he's going to have a long career with them.
You spoke last night, didn't you, about Quinton de Kock's career being on a bit of a decline. Since MI also identified, looking ahead, like we can see how this guy goes. If he works, there's a lock-in for a long time. And that's the vision shown by the franchise. Helped that he played for their franchise in the SA20 as well.
And I think they like the left-hander as well. I know that Mumbai, try to keep that sort of combination of left-right, and having that left-hander up front with Rohit is an important combination.
Yeah, the other key thing is that he's been good against spin, hasn't he, Wasim? Which is sometimes what you look at with overseas batters coming in. So even if they give you overs of spin in the power play, he's actually been really good against spin with that low base. So that's another thing that really helps. Right?
Yeah, plays sweeps really well. And I think a lot of times in this season he's got 30s, mid-20s and got out. With a little bit of experience, those numbers are going to improve next season. So, he's going to be there for a few seasons.
Yeah, I wonder also when he got his he started with a 13 of 7, got 6, then got 62, couple of games later got 41. This is all at the time where Rohit Sharma was still short of form, had a bit of a knee injury as well. Whether Rickleton's form at the start helped Rohit also just kick into gear in the IPL.
I think you don't need both the openers, out of form. So obviously Rickleton's form helped, and then again Rohit coming into form. Surya found his touch. Will Jacks has played a little bit of kind of cameos. So everything's coming in together, and that's the reason where MI stands now. Right.
PBKS need to strike early, and their power play returns have taken a bit of a hit last couple of games. Arshdeep to Rohit, and now with the inclusion of Jamieson as well as Vaishak, I wonder if that allows Shreyas to maybe attack more with Arshdeep Singh today. Thoughts on how we see the power play going, gents?
Well, there's no doubt. Well, Arshdeep's going to take the new ball, and it's a bit of a no-brainer, that matchup for Rohit. So what's going to be interesting if the ball swings. If it does swing, that's going to really challenge in those first few overs, and you can guarantee that Punjab will be desperate to try to get some early inroads into this strong Mumbai lineup.
You see that strong breeze even on screen. Arshdeep's shirt is just flying with the breeze there, and Rickleton is taking strike, which we can understand. Right, all things kept in mind, let's get into it. Big game, top 2, top of the table inside for both sides. Let's get first innings predictions. Would you want to wait for forecaster to load?
I can.
You don't care. You say it, then forecaster will load, Dustin.
I'll say, given everything that's been said about the pitch, maybe 218.
Okay, Aaron Finch called it a belter, and you trust Finchy, so 218 for Dustin. What about you, Wasim?
195.
195. Are you going Punjab today, Wasim?
Yeah.
I thought you might. And Tom?
I want to go for 187.
Are you going Punjab as well today?
No.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I'm just telling you what I think the first inning score is going to be.
All right. The unlucky 187. Isn't that an inauspicious number in your part?
87 is not great.
Okay. On that note, that's it then. Forecasters loaded. 209 is what it says. Why don't I go with forecaster? I'll go for a nice 209, sticking with the technology. We'll see where the game stands. Gentlemen, thank you very much More conversation at the end of the MI innings to see who's in front. On Next Up Presents, ESPN Cricket for Time Out. See you then.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.